All right, let's set the scene. Picture it. The late 90s. Gaming was this just wild frontier of new ideas. And in this golden age, there were these three absolute titans. You had Quake, you had Half-Life, and then there was this other game. A game that would literally change everything. So let's do a little thought experiment. Let's jump into a different timeline. Seriously, what if one of the most important, most influential video games of all time just poof, never happened, gone? How would that totally reshape gaming as we know it? And believe it or not, how would it change things even outside of gaming? Yeah, that's the wild question we're going to dig into. So the game we're talking about, none other than Unreal Tournament, UT99. And look, this wasn't just another shooter in a crowded market. No way. This thing was a foundational pillar for an entire generation of gamers. And to really understand the massive, gaping hole its absence would leave, you've got to first understand what made it so special in the first place. What did this game actually do that was so revolutionary? What did it build? Okay, let's get into the good stuff. The genius of UT99, you see, was all in the details. It was about a whole different philosophy of what a shooter could be, how accessible it was, and maybe most importantly, the incredible power it handed over to its players. So back in '99, you had this epic showdown of ideas. On one side, you had Quake 3 Arena. This was the temple of pure, raw skill. We're talking lightning-fast reflexes, pinpoint aim, just pure mechanical dominance. But then, Unreal Tournament comes along and says, hey, what if there's another way? It offered this tactical sandbox, a place where being clever was just as important, if not more important, than having the fastest trigger finger. And nothing, I mean nothing, shows this better than the legendary shock rifle. This wasn't just a gun, you guys. It was a beautiful, elegant tool for outsmarting people. The famous shock combo? Man, that wasn't about twitch reflexes. It was about patience, timing, setting the perfect trap. It was basically playing 3D chess, but your checkmate was a massive, screen-shaking plasma explosion. So cool. But beyond the gameplay, UT99 just opened the doors for everyone. Think about it. In 1999, having AI bots that were actually good enough to practice against, that was a total game changer. A server browser that didn't make you want to pull your hair out. Mind-blowing. And then they included Unreal Ed, the level editor. They literally just gave the players the keys to the entire kingdom and said, go nuts. Build whatever you want. All right, so we've seen what UT99 built. Now let's go back to our thought experiment. Let's step into that other reality, the one where UT99 is just gone, wiped from history. What does that world look like? A world shaped only by its competitors. Well, for starters, the first-person shooter genre would be a lot narrower, a lot more boring, honestly. Without UT99's influence pushing for tactical creativity, the entire landscape would be dominated by just one style of play, that pure, hardcore, mechanical skill-based shooter. Anything else would struggle to get a foothold. And this has a huge knock-on effect. The whole idea of esports becoming this massive, global thing, it probably would have happened way, way slower. Sure, it'd still have a hardcore Quake 3 scene, but with that super high skill ceiling, it would have stayed pretty small, pretty exclusive. UT99, with its wider appeal, was the proof that competitive gaming could be for everybody. Without it, who knows how long that idea would have taken to catch on. You see, the real magic of Unreal Tournament was that it was a bridge. It connected the hardcore, wannabe pro players with the folks who just wanted to jump on for a few games on a Friday night. They could all play together and have fun. If you take that bridge away, you get this huge divide, this massive chasm, right? The elite pros on one side and everybody else on the other. And that would have absolutely slowed down the growth of online gaming for everyone. Okay, but now let's zoom out even further. Because the ripple effects, the shock waves from erasing this one game, they go so much deeper than you might think. This isn't just about changing the past. This is about completely rewriting the DNA of the games you are probably playing today. No, seriously, think about it. The DNA of UT99 is everywhere. You see it in Halo's perfectly balanced arena multiplayer. You see it in core game modes like Domination that became staples in Call of Duty. You even see it in the whole idea of creative tactical weapon abilities in games like Overwatch and Valorant. All of these giants are standing on the shoulders of the blueprint that Unreal Tournament created. But believe it or not, that's not even the biggest consequence. The biggest shockwave of them all, it isn't about another game. It's about the very engine, the digital foundation that powers everything. So, you've heard of the Unreal Engine, right? It's this absolute monster in the industry today. But here's the kicker that a lot of people forget. Unreal Tournament wasn't just a game that used the engine. Its wild runaway success is the very thing that launched that engine into the stratosphere. It was the ultimate showcase, the thing that made every developer go, I need that. So just stop for a second. Imagine a world where that engine, that powerhouse of creation, never became the giant it is today. What takes its place? What does our digital world look like? Because we're not just talking about games anymore. We're talking about Hollywood movies, using it for mind-blowing virtual sets. We're talking about architects using it to design the buildings we live and work in. We're talking about the future of virtual reality. Without UT99 acting as that rocket fuel for the engine's popularity, our whole digital landscape, it would be almost unrecognizable. So let's wrap this all up. When you look back at Unreal Tournament, this masterpiece from 1999, you realize its legacy is so much more than just awesome memories of LAN parties or hitting that perfect career-ending shock combo. It was, in a word, a catalyst. It wasn't just another step in the evolution of gaming, it was the agent of change that hit the fast-forward button on the entire industry. It lit a fire under everything, from community and creativity to innovation across the board. It was the turning point that helped shape the very world of gaming we live in right now. A world that's more accessible, more creative, and more about community than ever before. It's a cornerstone, a true legend. And that leaves us with one last kind of chilling question. The impact of Unreal Tournament was absolutely massive. But back then, it was so easy to just see it as another cool game. So it makes you wonder, what's the Unreal Tournament of today? What's that one game, that one piece of tech that we're all just taking for granted right now, that is quietly building the foundation for the next 20 years? What's the next hidden giant that we won't fully appreciate until we imagine a world without it?